I think throughout the lighting of my fire, I'm casting my eyes over at Mrs. Croft, and I'm conscious that she never meets mine. And at first I think it's my own paranoia, but then I realize that there's a focus that she has elsewhere. She studies my body language now and then, I see that. And she looks at the space where Coghill was, with those damned intelligent eyes of hers, like two pools of knowledge. And then she keeps studying Abel with an intensity of focus that is it's unguardedly naked in its ferocity of intellect. He, of course, is busy in the flow of his oration, fascinating as it is. And I can hear the crackling of the wood, and I can see the flames licking up the limbs, the pale, slender cuts of birch, and I can smell the sweet scent of the smoke as it's released, the conflagration in its miniature form. It heartens me, it releases something in me, but all the time I'm conscious that I've missed something. But surely they're fine, really. They seem to have pulled themselves together, and that's the important thing after that terrible business with the window, the blackened window, and I mustn't think about it. But as I realize that I'm wincing thinking about it, I look back at her face, and she's not wincing, she's not guarded. She seems free somehow. And now I think about it, Coghill, something about his eyes. There was something about him as he was leaving. He looked happier to be leaving, happier to be so close to the edge of something. I can't explain it. It's almost enough to distract me, but the terrible business of this cult, this Tenebros, the shadow, the demon, the dragon, could it be?
The Apocalypse Players present Magnum Tenebrosum, a Call of Cthulhu scenario by Dominic Allen, with Joseph Chance as Dr. John Elvedon, Danann McAleer as Colonel Ambrose Coghill, and our special guest, Tilly Steele, as Dr. Jemima Croft. Your keeper of arcane lore is Dominic Allen.
Part 10. A Toilet Trader.
Do you mind if I smoke?
Yes, well, not at all. I'll join you.
Yeah. Just furious lighting of cigarettes.
So meanwhile, outside in the commode.
Well, I was going to see if I could, on my way out, check. It's a small cottage, right? I was going to see if I could pop my head around a couple of doors and just...
There's sort of the only other rooms. There's a wooden staircase, very narrow sort of, and it's one of those ones that's in a room of its own.
Yes.
As you go in, as you came into the cottage, it's got a door straight onto the staircase.
I'll probably leave that for now.
And so you've come into the lounge, but there's a door at the back of the lounge into the kitchen.
Yeah.
Which is kind of where he gestures for the commode. The kitchen is quite chaotic. There's a big stove and a window overlooking a backyard. The yard is not as well appointed as the front garden, and it's much smaller.
Okay.
There's a sort of low fence that's sort of a bit broken and tatty, and you can see the commode, little sort of crescent moon cut in the door kind of thing.
Like Shrek.
And but there's loads of like pots and pans all about, knocking around, and sacks. There's a big sack of potatoes, and yeah, it's just quite disorganised in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And then there's a door out of the kitchen
into the yard,
which it leads into a sort of a mud room, very small mud room. He's got a couple of sort of wax jackets hanging up and some Wellington boots. And there's a sort of coal cellar in there and a back door.
Coal cellar, you say? A coal cellar as in, like, is it a hatch sort of situation? Or
it's like a metal coal scuttle, I suppose. It's got it's got a hatch, but it's not a whole room.
No.
That's
what I was checking. It's not a separate little annex. Great. In which case, I'll open the back door and I want to do a quick scan. I'll do another spot hidden if that's all right. Make sure the skies are clear. Make sure there's no one around.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's an 81, so that's a fail.
Oh dear.
So I guess I don't see anything. That's on my 25 spot hidden. It's just the standard.
It looks like there's another storm rolling in soon.
Right. Okay, that's good to know.
We can see thick, dark clouds, and the wind is picking up. They're rolling in.
Okay.
Over the hills from the south.
There goes the summer.
Yes.
You can give me a listen check as well if you like.
It's winter, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I'll give it a go, but my ears are shot from all the shelling. That's 71 on my 20. Listen, so no. So I feel like I think
too quiet.
Yes, but my way is clear, so I may as well make the gesture of running over to the commode, as if I'm running across no man's land, trying to gain another trench. I just sort of looking to my sides, and I'm assuming I make it. Nothing swoops down and takes me.
No, you're fine. You're
Good.
fine.
Not this time.
Not this time.
It's a little heroic moment though for Coghill, I felt. A touch of the light against the dark.
Yeah.
It's just the dark against the dark.
As so many have said going into that particular outhouse.
Yes, the darkness
I
against
tell you what,
in the groups.
I tell you what happens then. So you go into the commode and you maybe sit down for a second. You've got this old bit of newspaper. Could you give me do I need a roll for this?
I've got a horrible feeling about this. I've got a bad feeling about this.
You wanted one?
Let's have a luck roll.
Fuck.
I find the mystery of it exciting.
A 6.
A 6?
Yeah. On 20.
Wow.
Yeah, 20.
It's another great luck roll.
Nice.
I don't know whether that's good or bad, but really, I guess good. It's got to be good, right?
So, Ernest Abel's obviously cut up these newspapers into sort of like squares.
Yes. Very nice.
To use on the toilet. And he's giving you a little wedge of them. And the one on top catches your eye. It's got most of an article and a headline that says,
I married my brother's ghost. Take a break.
Man in York crushed by collection of Roman porn.
Heseltine fading fast. Just a selection of...
That really got me. Sorry.
Tears in his eyes.
You got me. Little shit. Heseltine was such a left field. It's classic that. That's what you get from staring at that mirror, talking shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then putting your head through a wall to see where the mirror...
You get to see it from the other side. You get mirror Danann.
Yeah.
Right?
Mirror Danann.
You could only have 4 in every 20 actors. But, my God, they're worth their weight in gold. Oh my God, I can't take the tension.
okay, yeah, got it. So you notice it's an obituary. And it's obituary for a woman called Charlotte Annabel Robinson.
In his toilet.
In the
toilet
newspaper that he's given it.
Oh.
Yeah. Some of it's cut off.
Yeah.
But it says, Charlotte Annabel Robinson of Dabbin-on-the-Wold, daughter of Norman Cecil Robinson, late of this parish, passed away mercifully without any suffering or period of illness during the birth of her son Luke, born in heaven, it says. Taken in her 27th year, she was a reliable employee of the Roehampton family, a loyal daughter and beloved sister.
and a true Christian soul.
Of the Roehamptons.
Yeah. And it says that the service will be held in Danann Cemetery. The date is cut off.
Bollocks. Well, I'm going to pocket that. For fuck's sake. And then I'll pop that all in my pocket, and no flush or anything is there, so I'll just I'll poke my head out, and I want to do another spot hidden just up at the sky, make sure there's nothing going to swoop down on me before I run back to the house.
By all means, you can do a spot hidden.
48, so another fail. But
seems fine.
Good. And I run back across again. Nazgul! And get to the mudroom, and make my way back through, I suppose.
So you come in just as Ernest Abel's sort of wittering on. He says, how was it? How was the commode?
Well, fine, yes.
Yes, a bit drafty in the winter.
Yes, I bet.
Yes, encourages a diet high in fibre, I can tell you that. This has all been very interesting.
Yes, we don't want to outstay our welcome. I wanted to ask you about whether do you think if we could rustle up proof of the image that you showed us there as ongoing. The image of that interesting serpentine S shape, almost like the body of a lizard, perhaps, and I might be being fanciful here, and those two sort of triangular, intersecting wing-like appendages that seem to... Yes. That's one interpretation, perhaps. I wondered if I was to find, or if we were to find something that proved that still was in use, how would you feel about that, Mr. Abel? Do you think there'd be a little essay in it?
Oh, I should think so.
Obviously, it could be an
very
antique.
Interesting article.
It could be an antique, but yes.
Oh, yes, well, I would be very interested if you did find some. Have you found something like that?
I raise an eyebrow.
Say no more. But yes, I mean, it would be very interesting.
I think I look at Coghill first in a desperate bid to pretend I have a poker face. And then I look at Jemima, Mrs. Croft, to me. And I pause.
Sort of gauging whether or not we can convey...
And gauging whether she's understood anything... Yeah, whether she's understood anything that I didn't understand. I mean, actually, technically, I coincidentally rolled... not coincidentally, I simultaneously rolled a psychology roll and also passed. But I trust her judgment when it comes to...
Can I roll psychology and see if this guy is, like, on the level or if he's, like, concealing something from us?
Yeah, by all means.
We did have that pass from before when I was asking, and you.
That's
and
true,
you said,
actually. So yeah, actually, you probably wouldn't learn much else except that there is
anxiety.
That anxiety hasn't completely gone away, and it's sort of transformed now into a kind of curiosity, an excitement, perhaps. The cogs are whirring in his brain somewhere. It looks like he's racking his mind, trying to perhaps remember something or put two and two together.
So he could be in the cult.
There's no
to metagame for a second.
Yeah, I think.
What cult?
Yeah,
I don't think I've mentioned anything about a cult.
Is that what I see in Mrs. Croft's orbs of wisdom?
I got the draft from the commode. And the black robes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we could trust this guy. I don't think we should say anything else to be honest.
My instinct is the same.
I think I take a judgment, and since I passed, maybe unless you want me to do a psychology roll for silent observation of my comrades, I think I'm going to take that as I'm not going to press on.
I think maybe in that moment then I say, I have to say, it looks like there's a storm coming in, so perhaps we'd better make tracks.
Oh, yes.
Don't want to get caught outside.
The weather's been awful lately, I have to say. Yes.
How long do you think we have? Maybe 45 minutes, an hour? Do you think we could get up to that farm over there?
Which farm?
Oh, I think it's the one just past the woods beyond the graveyard, isn't it?
Oh.
Am I making that up?
Let's see.
Have I got that roughly right? Something
No,
like
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That's Dr. Arbuthnot's
that.
farm.
That's the one, yes.
Ah,
yes.
yes.
I thought it might make for quite a good tramp
Yes,
up
yes.
over there.
Well,
Tramping up the hill, not finding tramps. I'm not looking for tramps.
No.
there's a nice walk that way. Yes. If you bump into the doctor, do say hello. I'm sure I don't know if he gets many visitors. It's a bit out of the way, you know.
Town full of healthy folk, I suppose.
Mind you, he's always the one making visits, I suppose.
I could do with getting some fresh air.
Yes.
Thank you for allowing me the fire. Little bit of early rheumatism, you see. It's crept in during the time of the trenches. And I I clutch somewhat theatrically badly at my thighs.
That's a bugger.
Yes.
That's a bugger.
What about you, Miss Croft? Croft, you ready to take a tramp?
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Yes,
Mr.
my
Abel.
pleasure. Please do. I'm going to carry. You've inspired me, I have to say, and I'm going to keep digging. So if I find anything else, I'll leave you a note. You're
please,
staying
yes.
at the inn, aren't you?
Yes.
We
that's
are,
right.
yes.
Lovely. Well, I can always leave a note with Mrs.
Bagatha.
With Mrs.
Yes.
We know her. Yes.
Yes.
with Mrs.
Hard to forget, isn't she?
Mrs. Yes, with Mrs. Cowell, with Mrs. Cowell.
Mrs. Yes.
Yes, Carl.
Quite right, Cowell.
Right. Well,
Lovely. Well, good luck with your investigation. And
thanks
again,
for the lapsang souchong.
if you want any more, I've got plenty of it. I had it all imported.
Good to know.
Yes, I have a dealer in Hong Kong.
I'm sure you do. Yes.
This guy.
Yes, I get it all through. What's his name? Ho Fang, I think his name is. Yes.
Imports and exports.
so-
yes, how nice.
Yes. They do all sorts, actually. Some of my antiques, actually, through Ho Fang.
Right, get out now. We need to get out of this house.
And what can I say as I'm walking
No,
back?
I'm
I
not
say,
looking.
Shanghai, it's all just about fun and friends, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Shanghai, fun and
sounds
friends, I say
familiar.
as we're going out the door.
What's that from? He calls after you.
I don't know, I say. God's sake, let's keep
That
moving.
sounds awfully familiar.
Let's keep moving, for God's sake.
Shanghai Fun and Friends.
I'm opening the gate.
Yeah.
Quite right.
Shanghai Fun
How
and Friends.
does she
What's
do
that from?
She's so fast.
Well, yeah.
Farewell, Mr. Abel.
Shanghai Fun and Friends.
Is it all right to say that we take a path that is not particularly, I don't want to be walking past Peter again, having a conversation. But
Yes, you can. Basically, to get to the farm, you'd have to cross the stream again, but then you can cut south,
Nice.
avoiding the village, basically behind the church, and out off across into the woods.
I mean,
That way.
the footsteps that I marked a few trees in case the footsteps disappeared, they were leading towards this farm.
All right.
Oh, well, certainly, yeah, they were leading south, yeah.
Right, okay. But it's probably not worth trying to trace them more accurately. We'll just sort of assume that they're headed that way, so...
You certainly could do, yeah.
This guy's a big player. Good or bad.
Yeah,
And we should go and see.
we should.
yes, this notion of bleeding someone does now
Yes.
sit in a very stark light.
That was the argument they were...
But it doesn't quite fit with things. I wonder if it's a collision between the modern methods and the traditional, which I suspect is perhaps what's happening all around us.
Yes, I certainly wouldn't recommend bleeding anyone in my practice.
No.
Well, no, quite.
Good to know.
Quite.
And between us, while we walk, look, and I get out the thing and I say, it seems to me that this might be a more regular occurrence than we've been led to believe. Not a disappearance, of course, but look at this, sort of a younger woman dying in pregnancy, related to the Roehamptons. It has all the hallmarks of, I don't know, something similar.
In service too.
Perhaps she wasn't taken, but
Good Lord.
yes, a maidservant.
How long ago was this?
There's no date, it's cut off at the bottom, annoyingly.
Damn.
Yes. But I'm
Can't be
sure...
can't be that old.
Oh, good find, Colonel. Good find.
Thank you. Yes, it was worth going to the commode in the end.
Did
I
you have a
suppose-
look around upstairs or anything like that?
I didn't get a chance to go upstairs. I thought it would be too obvious. But I tell you, the doctor would be a person to ask. Perhaps we gain his trust, and then we ask him about births in the village. That we know that there's not many, but then we ask him perhaps if there have been regular problems in childbirth, as this seems to show.
Yes.
He'd have that knowledge.
A smart idea.
Yes.
Be interesting to hear the scientific theory, and also the local doctor must have seen something in his time here.
Yes, surely.
Any particular plan of approach you'd like to take, Mrs. Croft? You seem to be the best suited in terms of the intellectual angle. You have the most in common with the medical man.
We can read people like a book, I've noticed.
Yes. Depending on where the dice fall.
Well, quite. Yeah.
Metaphorically speaking.
Of course.
Yes, very droll. No, you'll forgive me for possibly pushing a little there, but I'm getting a little nervous about times, and I feel like, well, since we have, and I look at your pocket, Jemima, and I say, the ring, we took it off your finger. Do you remember putting it on?
No, but I remember wearing it.
Oh, it's all right. Anyway, I only mention it because I think we all need to be aware that we have it, and of course, if they do look for it and know it's missing, we'll be the prime suspects, I would have thought.
But equally,
I think we've rather started a clock.
yes.
Right.
Well, the storm's rolling in, so if we get to the doctor's, inquire there,
Indeed.
and try and make it back to the coach house before. Well, we're not in danger of it becoming dark yet, but yes, you're quite right. Once they find a cloak strewn about and a ring missing, then again the ring itself could open some doors. In a sense, we don't know what we're up against yet.
They can't ask for it back without throwing suspicion on themselves.
Well,
Why
quite.
would they want such a thing with the symbol on it? It proves that they're involved in some nefarious undertaking.
Yes, one wouldn't go to the police station and say, help, someone's stolen all of my satanic artifacts.
Indeed, Colonel.
Yes.
Indeed.
Which means if they do confront us, it'll be serious.
Yes.
But my friends, we cannot underestimate those who are blinded by faith. It is not the nature of a good and honest engagement with the spiritual to be blind at all. That should enlighten and open one's eyes to other perspectives. But some choose faith to be the ultimate mask, and behind its surface lies a terrible visage of horror.
Good Lord. Let's get out of the open, shall we?
Yes, quite right. To the doctors.
Yes.
Mrs.
The sky is beginning to bruise.
I'm already running.
She's already gone again.
again.
How does she
What
do
did
that?
you say, Doctor?
How does she do it?
Wait for me! Wait for me!
Agree.
So you've got two options really. There's a sort of dirt track that tacks around the cemetery, or you can cut through the cemetery. So which way do you want to go?
Which way would lead us? Would one of those ways lead us past the footsteps?
Yeah, through the cemetery.
I'd say may as well go that way then, unless anyone objects.
It's daylight, so
Because then we can still see if the tracks are still there, and they might lead to a specific building or door or something else. So we may as well see if they're there to track while we make our approach.
Yeah, absolutely. Fine.
Excellent.
So you pick your way through the graves in the cemetery until you get to the edge of the woods. Through the trees, you can just see that sort of gazeless face of the statue of General P. Vibernius Marco Legatus, eerily just saluting through the trees.
Horrible.
Really horrible. And it's very gloomy as you get deeper and deeper into the little copse of woodland. The earth gets quite loamy underfoot.
Loamy.
Let's have that tracking roll again, but with a bonus die because you left marks for yourself.
Yes. Watch out, the ground around here is rather loamy. That's a 3.
oh my word, you are on fire.
And a 49, some of the 3, so on 50 track. So that's extreme.
Yeah.
Extremely extreme.
Can't remember how I marked the trees. I think I just put soil on them or something. Yeah.
I think you scratched them with a knife. didn't
Oh
you?
yes, yes I did. Yeah.
Blazed them.
So yes, you find the remnants, the last remnants of some footprints. They're quite hard to follow though, but you get a general direction because it's rained so much. And you begin picking your way through the woods. Everyone is welcome to make a spot hidden here, if you wish.
Ah, Miss Croft, we've caught up with you.
On the edge of the cemetery.
And here's those tracks.
Anything useful? Oh, wonderful.
Yes, just there on the loamy floor. Oh, fuck, I've rolled an 88 on my 25. That's not much good.
I've rolled a 58 on my 60.
Yes, well played.
Oh, nice.
84 on my 35.
So we see fuck all, except for Jemima.
Yeah, you're making your way through the trees. It's the very edge of the cemetery now. It's the last few graves. But Jemima, you spot a relatively newer looking grave, and you recognise the name on it.
Is it the girl?
Yeah. Here lies Charlotte Annabel Robinson, taken home to the Lord in her 27th year, and her son Luke, born in heaven.
Oh, gosh. Here. Look here. It's her name.
Good Lord, the girl we've just found out about.
And the
And
child.
little Luke. How tragic. I tell you what. No, it's a horrible thought.
No, I've already had the same thought. I'm sorry. You'll have to forgive us, Mrs. Croft. The war does that to... Well,
Yes.
perhaps you've had the same thought yourself.
Numbed to certain things.
I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean?
Well, it would be a way of confirming things, wouldn't it?
Well, depending on what the doctor tells us, perhaps it would be worth, under cover of night, returning to the grave and seeing
I go loose like a man drunk as he speaks.
the you're right there, seeing the
I'm
condition
looking around to see if anyone can hear us or see us.
of the remains.
Oh, you can't be serious.
I'm
Well,
sorry,
I
Mrs.
mean-
Croft.
I'll have no part in it.
Well, we're not agreed. It's
You're
just
right,
the nature
you're
of
right.
when you've seen the bodies stacked up as we have. I'm sorry.
Exhuming a young woman's grave, honestly.
Your attitude changes. We can't convince you in the moment, but if you were to see it, oh, Mrs. Croft, forgive me.
Well, we know.
I'm not convinced that
No.
Neither am I.
digging up this woman would be of any use to our investigation.
Listen.
Or our remaining sanity points, Dr. Elvedon.
But if the police, but if the police, well, yes, your psychological terminology is baroque and arcane to me, but I feel like I instinctively understand something of what you're saying. Yes.
Well, either way, perhaps the doctor will let us know. If we ask him, he would have been present for the unfortunate birth.
Good thinking.
Does it say the date that the year that she died, Dom?
Oh, on the grave.
Yeah.
Thank God you're here.
That's a very good question, isn't it? That's a very good question. Clever questions you ask.
Despite the youth of the stone, weirdly flaked away on the dates section.
Yes. Yes. Struck by lightning by the looks of it. Well, we'll never know.
That does seem a bit dramatic. But okay.
Yeah, it looks like it was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago.
Okay. So he should know about it.
So, what do you want to do?
Let's follow these tracks. That's what I say.
Yes.
If you can make something of them, your eye is better at this sort of thing than mine. But I think I see something of what you're on about.
Yes. Well, I'll follow them as far as I can. Leading still towards the farm, I suppose. And I'll say to Miss Croft, you're right, it was a momentary lapse of judgment, but we should at least ask the doctor if the child was born deformed.
Of course, that would be acceptable.
Good, yes. Forgive my earlier psychological transgressions.
That's all right, Colonel.
Yes.
We are indeed gazing into the abyss.
Yes. You shouldn't look into the abyss too long because you start seeing monsters and stuff, don't you? Something like that. Have you got that hip flask?
Yes, just a little something to stiffen us over the brow of that hill. That's what I say. Mrs. Croft, would you like to go first?
What did you say?
Yes, she's already up. I just
Jesus Christ.
I passed the flask to.
I'm like a whippet.
God, she's like a whippet.
I passed the flask to Coghill, and then I take out my own flask because that's just the backup for him, and I sip. I sip a bit of that, and I put.
That's his sippy cup.
I put it in my pocket.
Yeah, Tommy Tippy.
Yeah.
And I'm jogging after.
Tommy Tippy.
I'm jogging after Miss Croft. Baby wants his bottle.
That's what we call it, isn't it? Tommy Tippy.
Yeah. I had a Tommy Tippy.
Yeah.
Always had my great aunt always used to put boiling hot fucking tea in it. Scold myself all the time.
What is it with like nanas and wanting to give their like grandchildren tea?
It's good for you.
Yeah.
My late nana used to make me drink cold tea.
Oh,
What?
From her. That sounds like she abused me. She didn't. She's the greatest woman ever. But she's always like, go and have a little sip of the tea, and I'd be like,
Yeah. I'm not into tea. I'm a child.
yeah.
Very much looks.
She was right though.
These Cumbrian standards. That is, in Yorkshire, that would be child abuse.
That's because you're all soft.
Proper Yorkshire girl. You know, a nice cup of Yorkshire tea and piping hot. Get that
Piping
down
hot.
your neck.
The black pudding.
Birmingham, it's just pig's blood. Black
Yeah.
country. Drink that pig's blood down while it's still hot. Otherwise it'll congeal in your mouth.
Yeah. You want to be able to
Put
still
hairs
hear
on
the
your
squealing
chest.
while you're drinking. That's the way.
You won't make a coal miner if you don't get that down you. Anyway.
well, at least we put that bit behind
hell.
us in Norfolk. It's the other stuff we couldn't get rid of.
Yes.
No comment.
No comment.
Family. Blood runs thicker than water there. Much thicker.
No comment.
Like custard.
No comment.
Chambadron.
Cut.
Cut this bit.
Cut this bit.
Banging on about the Chinese a minute ago. That's all got to go.
Oh, we can't
This
say
episode's
that.
gonna be about
Can't.
10 minutes.
I think the instant you're saying the anyone,
Yeah,
you're not
the
in a good place, Dom.
Yeah.
Wind it back.
Yeah.
Wind it
These
back.
people. Anyway, speaking of these people, you get to you get through the trees.
Yes.
And in the distance, you see down the hillside through the trees this relatively dilapidated looking farmhouse. There's an old car, an old big truck parked outside.
Yeah.
And there's smoke coming out the chimney. Can you all give me...
Here we go.
Actually, you've already done spot hiddens through the woods, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. And it was just a regular success for you, wasn't it, Jemima? Okay, never mind then. So yeah, that's the situation. You've got to kind of almost, you're looking down upon it. It's sort of in the little dip of the valley.
And the tracks, have I managed to follow the tracks as we've moved this way? They're still there?
The tracks kind of dissipate
Right.
here.
Okay. Well, there's only one place they could have been leading. What say you? We call upon this fella then?
Is your gun loaded, Colonel?
Let me check. Now it is.
I checked my own.
Good thinking. Not to be
I
on
wave
edge,
my
but-
notebook and say, well, I have this, and I pull out a candle. And, well,
I'm sure you can defend yourself with something, Doctor.
maybe I'll, just give me one moment, and I walk over to the nearest, ash or elder. I'm sure there'll be one nearby. And I snap off a bough and just pull off the branches and sort of make a makeshift walking staff.
It's a 10-minute walk away, so me and Jemima are just stood there watching you walk across a field in the
To me,
distance.
it feels like it's only a moment.
Yeah. What's he doing? Good Lord. Creating some sort of billy club.
I spy with my little eye.
I do have a pocket knife, so I'll just be trimming it as we approach.
Lovely. Fashioning it into a pike.
Yeah, well, essentially, yeah. Well, it's just make it a bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
A stout cane.
As we approach the farmhouse, are there any other outbuildings, or is it just the main house?
Yes, sort of. It's the main house, and then there's a few sheds and things, and then way in the distance you can see sort of other outbuildings.
Right. Okay.
They look in a quite a bad state of disrepair.
Yes. So did we decide how to... I'm assuming we're talking as we're walking down to the door, but did we decide on what the best tech of approach would be?
Well, we could, of course...
I don't even know where to begin.
Well, I did overhear this confrontation between Mrs. Cowell...
With the landlady.
And the accusation was very clearly made regarding the draining of... you killed my mother, you drained her blood, was the sentence.
Yes.
And since we've been tasked, perhaps we could lead with, if your judgment suggests that we feel that he is more fair than foul, we could reveal to him that we know the Reverend and try and enlist him. Or we could go the other way and suggest we're very concerned, we've heard that people were missing, and we want to enlist his aid personally, as we feel that there might be... Either way, if he's involved, I suppose that's why I've got this stick in my hand and why you've just loaded your revolvers.
Yes.
I think it's...
I can't lie, I'm suspicious of this man.
Yes, it's come to something of a crunch. When I first heard it, I felt that it was the other way round, and that it was crude superstition. There is still a chance that's the case, Jemima, isn't it?
Yes.
It could be. Could be smoke and mirrors. Psychosis.
Yes.
Can fall upon even the sanest of minds.
Perhaps,
Good Lord.
Perhaps I should be the one who should ask to use the facilities. And I could have a little snoop around while the two of you observe him. Obviously only when the moment is right.
Yes. He may not even be home. He may not even let us in. Who knows?
Quite right. Quite so.
Although, don't I remember you telling me, Ambrose, about that marvellous trip you took across no man's land where you didn't make a noise for more than 15 minutes? Or am I mixing that with old Binky? Was that Binky? Oh, that was Binky.
You're mixing it up. My story was about how I made it about a foot across no man's land, and then everyone heard me.
Sounded like a hog.
And, yes.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes, I mixed those two up. Binky, poor Binky, didn't make it, of course.
He didn't.
Oh, wait, she's walking ahead again. Let's catch up with her.
Yes. Yes. She's almost at the door.
But I think it's
Come on,
good
Elvedon.
Is she knocking? Is she knocking?
I believe she is. There we are. Hello again, Miss Croft. Very speedy.
Yes, well, I'm in a walking club. I don't like to spend much time at home with my husband, so...
Quite right. Well, let's see if he's in, I suppose, and then go from there.
All right.
I go puce. At the mention of not wanting to spend time with her husband.
Utterly puce. Anyone in?
So what do? You get up to the door of the farmhouse itself. You've had to cross over through a stile by the gate, and there's a wooden sign saying Arbuthnot above it. But yeah, you get up to the actual farmhouse proper, and it has a door up a couple of steps. Who's at the front and who's at the back?
Mrs. Croft, sorry. Almost certainly.
I'm at the front.
Yeah.
I think I'm at the back.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm in the middle.
Middle for diddle.
Middle for diddle.
And usually, I think normally you would have been at the back, but I think I was so taken aback by this declaration that Mrs. Croft doesn't like to spend too much time with her husband. Some terrible barb of society has entered into me, and it's caused me to just drop behind.
Yes. Catch your breath.
So there's a couple of things you notice on the way up to the door, or one thing anyway. Obviously the smoke coming out the chimney. The curtains are all drawn. They're all quite thick curtains.
Yes.
And what do you do when you get to the door, Mrs. Croft?
I lightly knock.
You lightly knock, and the door goes... It's open.
Oh boy.
Hello? Doctor?
Can you all give me listen rolls?
Oh, fuck. My ears are fucked. Oh, I got a 19 on my 20 listen.
Ooh,
Stop rolling so
check
well.
you
Jesus,
out.
I've only passed one roll. Oh no, I passed.
I know.
one
Ooh,
as
my
well.
listen's good.
We've all passed.
Yeah,
Oh.
65. I passed.
24 on 33 for me.
Bloody hell, you've got good listen.
She's the ultimate detective.
Yeah.
Got 75 listen.
Check out the years on that. Unbelievable.
Miss Marple over here.
Yeah.
So you all hear. There's an eerie silence as you open the door, but then you realise there's a muffled sound. Somewhere way up in the house somewhere, you hear this. And it's a woman. You're sure it's a woman.
Oh, fuck.
And then it stops suddenly.
I reach out to Coghill with my finger on my lips, and just try and sort of deftly go past him.
But it sounded muffled not just because of the distance through the house, but it actually sounded like a bit muffled.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Can we hear where it's coming from? Up.
Up somewhere.
I mean, my gun's coming straight out, just at my side.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
I think I mime, perhaps somewhat grotesquely to you, Mrs. Croft, Jemima, a sort of sneaking move, and point to the door, and then I point at you in a sort of, do you want to do that? And then I point to myself, or shall I?
What's your stealth?
How good's your stealth?
It's 25%.
Mine's the base.
But I mean, you wouldn't necessarily know that. But obviously, I can be a bit clumsy.
Mine's better.
I can be a bit clumsy, and you know that.
Mine's better.
I think you've seen both of us
No, it
trip over
doesn't mean that I'll be successful at
No.
this. But
But I am deferring, definitely. So I think it's not out of the
okay.
it's not out of the box to say.
Okay. I've rolled a 38 on a 45.
Sweet.
Oh.
Yes. Come on.
That's good stealth.
So, Jemima creeps into the house. It's very dark inside because of all the curtains being closed and very quiet. But you creep in anyway beyond the door. And then Dr. Elvedon, Colonel Coghill, what are you doing? Are you waiting outside momentarily, or are you...
I'd like to stay. I don't have good stealth, but I'd like to take a foot in, like into the darkness, like just beyond the door, and like be covering with the gun, silhouetted in the doorway.
What about you, Dr. Elvedon?
I think in that classic academic moment of uncertainty, I point to the side of the building, as it were, sort of as if I'm saying, shall I go round to Coghill?
I sort of gesture like, why the fuck not?
And as he nods, I will try and move as fast as I can, but as quietly as I can. So if you want me to do a stealth, I'm happy to. But I'm going to put some pace into it, because I'm thinking I'm still outside, so...
No, I think that's fine. I'll need a dex roll, I think. Because there's lots of, like, it's sweat, and there's straw, and mud, and unska.
It is my worst attribute, but it's 45. I mean, it's not pathetic, but it's...
No, not at all. Nearly 1 in 2.
Is that the sort of thing I could spend some luck on?
Yes.
Ooh, yeah. How much do you need to spend?
6.
I wouldn't... I don't know if it's worth it.
It might not be worth it.
I'll be honest.
I think yeah. Do you know, it's a little too high. It's a little too
You'll
high.
probably just roll down the hill or something. Hopefully you won't get
I
eaten
think
by a dragon.
It's
You
my
get
haste
tetanus
gets the
from
better of
falling
me.
on farm
and
equipment.
I step on a pile of hay that I don't think is a pile of hay. Such as the discoloration on it from the rain. It's my 53 on a 45.
So as you go around the corner of the house, it's not a perfect square. You go around a couple of corners and you slip, because you're going at such speed. You slip and roll and face plant.
Oh, no.
And when you look up, you're staring at a very dirty Wellington boot. And you look up into the face of the man who was in the pub drawing things on his... And he's holding a shotgun pointed directly at your face.
Oh, fuck.
And I think that's where we'll stop.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
The group is split. I love it.
But I mean, we're all thinking that's the girl upstairs, right?
Oh yeah,
So this
it's gotta
fucking-
be.
This fucking pervert's probably part of the cult. He's holding her there for some sort of ritual that they're gonna
Yeah.
perform.
Or,
Oh, man.
well, let's
This
not jump
is
to conclusions.
fucked.
Let's
Well,
not jump
maybe
to
not,
conclusions.
maybe not.
He could have taken her away secretly
To save her from the cult.
to save her from the cult.
He could-
but
yeah,
can't
he could
reveal
be.
it.
Why is she
I don't
sounding
know. That seems
gagged then?
desperate to me, but
Or muffled?
And that guy was trying to work something out about where she'd been. I thought.
And this
didn't he?
house might be full of them.
Oh, it's exciting! Great finish. Love it.
I tell you what, we need
Yeah,
to get these
great.
fucking curtains opened because something needs the
Yeah.
dark, and I don't like it
Oh,
when it
that's a
needs the
good point.
dark.
Yeah, that's a good point. But it's perfectly poised as the most dangerous of us all is deep in there ahead.
Yeah. Jemima Croft sprinting through the house silently.
The maddest of us all is standing in the doorway, and the one with the best Greek and Latin has got a shotgun in his face. That's
Yeah.
exact.
I know.
We've split our skills well.
We're all going to die.